employees to move out because they couldn't comply to the COVID rules. That just became sort of a foolish power game.
The night Christine Brown gave birth to her daughter, Truly, was supposed to be one of the most special and sacred moments in her life. A time full of love, strength, and support. But instead of being surrounded by that, Christine remembers something very different. She remembers a painful silence. She kept looking at the door, hoping Kody would walk in, but he didn't. And even after all these years, the memory still hurts. What fans once thought were just rumors are now coming back stronger than ever. New behind-the-scenes details, insider stories, and Christine's own memoir are painting a much clearer picture. And the truth? It's worse than people imagined. Kody Brown wasn't just out of the room or changing his clothes while Christine was in labor. He was somewhere else, with someone else, not at the store, not at home with his other kids, but at Robyn's house. Yes, Robyn, who wasn't even legally his wife yet at the time. Robyn, who was already becoming the main woman in his life. Robyn, who, according to insiders, kissed Kody that night on her porch, under the stars, while Christine was in a hospital bed, alone, giving birth to their child. Christine quietly shares this painful memory in a teaser for her upcoming book. Her voice breaks as she admits there was a moment when she realized that Kody had something else he thought was more important than being by her side. She doesn't need to say much, her eyes say it all. And suddenly, everything starts to make sense. In the Sister Wives episode about Truly's birth, Kody walks into the hospital with freshly wet hair. He says he just needed to clean up. Now, a former crew member from that night says something very different. Kody didn't go to clean up, he went to Robyn's house. And he didn't go alone. A TLC van was reportedly parked outside her home, waiting. They weren't filming, they were just watching. We don't know exactly what they saw or recorded. But people who were there say time-stamped videos, uncut footage, and even porch audio may still exist. One insider said producers were told to stay quiet and not follow Kody. But they remember watching, shocked, as he left the hospital and disappeared for hours. When he finally came back, he acted normal, like nothing had happened. But Christine could feel it. The time on the clock, the smell of his hair, the way he avoided her eyes, it all added up. And worst of all, it felt like her pain and her experience didn't matter to him at all. None of this was shown in the episode. The TV version showed a beautiful birth, happy tears, and Kody saying basic things about being a dad. Christine's discomfort was shown but explained away as labor pain. But that wasn't the full truth. Christine wasn't just in pain. She was heartbroken. And now with her book, she's finally speaking out. She writes about the exact moment she felt abandoned. She didn't scream or accuse, she just remembered the time. The silence and the deep feeling in her gut that told her he wasn't coming back anytime soon. On Instagram, Christine shared a video of herself flipping through her memoir. Paused on one chapter, fans believe it's titled, "The Night I Was Left Alone." She didn't read the page. But one quote stood out. He said he had to change, but what he changed was everything. That single sentence spread like wildfire online. Longtime fans who always felt something was strange about that episode were suddenly piecing things together. People started asking more questions, not just viewers, but past crew members and podcast hosts too. One old photo from a deleted blog post suddenly popped up. It showed someone who looked like Kody with his hair tied back, standing on a porch and leaning in toward a woman who looked like Robyn. You couldn't see a kiss, but you could feel the closeness and the timestamp on the photo. It matched perfectly with the time Christine was deep in labor. Coincidence? Some people think so. But many more don't, especially when you add in the fact that Christine's book mentions a crew being outside Robyn's home that night, that the hospital room had a strange stillness, not the usual buzz of a baby about to be born. That everything just felt off. Even more shocking is what Christine hasn't shared yet. Two podcast hosts say her publisher is holding back one powerful chapter for later. They call it the chapter with teeth. It reportedly includes a crew member's secret confession and a private incident report that was never given to TLC's legal team. The report doesn't say Robyn's name directly, but it clearly describes where Kody went, who opened the door, and what the producers were told to leave out of the show. For years, fans believed TLC edited the show to protect certain people. But this situation isn't just about shaping a storyline. If true, it was a full cover-up, a way to hide a betrayal, a moment that changed Christine's entire understanding of her marriage and herself. After the birth, Christine didn't make a scene. She didn't yell. Like so many women, she pushed the pain down and focused on her baby. She smiled for the cameras. She pretended the edited version of events was the truth, but something had changed in her heart. That night showed her exactly where she stood in Kody's world. And now, thanks to her courage, fans are learning the real story too. And this wasn't just one bad night. It was a clear warning sign of what was coming. Of how Robyn would slowly become the favorite. Of how Kristen and the other wives would be pushed aside. Later, during a private conversation, Janelle hinted at this too. She told Christine she'd seen all the finances, and Kody was giving Robyn way more money than the rest of them. That comment seemed small at the time, but now it feels huge. It shows Kody wasn't just giving Robyn emotional attention. He was giving her everything: time, money, energy. And now fans are asking if he could abandon Christine during something as important as childbirth. What else did he walk away from? How many other moments, birthdays, holidays, tough times did he miss while focusing only on Robyn? Online, fans have become detectives. They compare old pictures of Kody's jacket and hair tie to the porch photo. They've matched the glow of a streetlight in the background to Robyn's old neighborhood. They're asking, why didn't the show include any hallway scenes from the hospital? Why didn't they show Kody walking in or mention where he went? Like TLC tried to erase the whole thing to protect the image of Kody and Robyn as a perfect love story. But if Christine still has behind-the-scenes footage, like some people believe, the truth might come out someday, maybe when her NDA expires. Maybe in a second book. Maybe in a new documentary. One thing is clear: Christine is no longer quiet. In a recent fan Q&A, she said the book doesn't include everything. Almost, she said, some things I'm saving. That short sentence has fans buzzing. Is she protecting her daughter, truly, from the full truth? Or is she waiting for the perfect time to share more? Either way, her strength is being noticed. She's not angry or loud. She's calm, strong, and honest. She's remembering her truth and taking control of her story. And in doing that, she's showing just how much she's grown. Because behind all the smiles, all the TV edits, and all the silence, the truth is painful. On one of the most important nights of her life, Christine needed her husband and he chose someone else. That kiss on the porch may have been short, but the impact lasted for years. And now, with her book finally giving voice to what really happened, fans are seeing the big picture for the first time. The question isn't just, did Kody leave Christine alone that night? It's, did he ever really see her at all? And as more fans read the book, rewatch old episodes, and search for clues, one thing is clear. Christine may have been left alone that night, but she's not alone anymore. She has her voice, her platform, and her truth. And she's only just getting started.
I don't know what to do with the word plural family. I think we're sister wives that are raising kids together.
It was supposed to be a sacred moment, the birth of a daughter, a celebration of life, a milestone that would bring a family closer. But for Christine Brown, the arrival of baby truly marked the beginning of a quiet devastation, a deep unraveling of trust, and the slow crumbling of everything she thought she understood about love, marriage, and plural family dynamics. What should have been a time of unity and shared vulnerability turned instead into a solitary struggle. And years later, Christine is no longer willing to protect the silence that nearly broke her. She remembers vividly the sterile hospital air, the rhythmic beeping of machines, the growing panic in her chest as she realized that Kody wasn't coming back. He had left not just the room, not just the hospital, but her. And now, Christine is ready to say out loud what so many fans have long suspected but never heard confirmed. Kody missed Truly's birth and the early, precious, grueling days that followed, not because of a work emergency or unforeseen circumstance, but because he was with Robyn on what insiders now claim was a romantic getaway. A honeymoon in all but legality. 11 days of snow-drenched bliss captured on TLC cameras and repackaged for viewers as a wholesome family trip. But to Christine, those days were a cold reminder of where she stood in Kody's heart and afterthought. A burden, the wife he no longer had any desire to pretend he cared for. And Kody didn't mince words. In what Christine calls a turning point conversation, he reportedly told Mary, "I have no desire, Mary, to have a relationship with you. You can stick around and you can come visit me and Robyn and the kids if you want, but we're never going to have a marriage relationship anymore." These weren't just words, they were confessions, cracks in the carefully curated facade of equal love and shared commitment. Christine, for her part, has described those days not with rage, but with a calm, devastating clarity. She now says that missing Truly's birth wasn't an isolated mistake. It was the beginning of a pattern of slow, painful detachment that began with a kiss and ended with a complete emotional severing. Kody didn't show up for the sleepless nights, the postpartum exhaustion, the moments when a new mother desperately needs support. He missed the feedings, the diaper changes, the emotional aftermath of labor. Christine, raw and sleep-deprived, found herself alone. No coordinated support from the other wives. No call from Kody. No rotating childcare plan. Just silence. The sting was made worse when TLC aired footage of Kody and Robyn dancing around snowy cabins, sipping cocoa, and sharing kisses near fireplaces, newlyweds in spirit, if not yet on paper. But the heart of the matter wasn't just emotional neglect, was financial betrayal. Because as Christine lay in a hospital room bringing life into the world, a curious PayPal transfer was allegedly made. $500, labeled emergency supplies, sent from a joint account tied to the family's shared finances. The recipient? Robyn. The date? The very night Christine went into labor. That single transaction set the sister wives' fandom ablaze. Theories exploded in private forums and across social media. Was this money truly for an emergency? And if so, why was it sent during such a pivotal moment for another wife? Some speculated it was a cover story, a coded excuse for Kody's sudden disappearance. Others wondered if this was part of a larger, ongoing pattern, money being siphoned from shared accounts and redirected toward Robyn's comfort while the other wives juggled necessities. Christine later alluded to expenses I didn't agree to, while Janelle cryptically referenced having to track every dollar because not everyone plays by the same rules. These weren't casual grievances. They were flashing warning lights of an internal financial system that, in hindsight, may have always been rigged. Insiders now claim that Christine's legal team reviewed family bank records during her separation, allegedly uncovering patterns of withdrawals made from communal funds that were then rerouted toward Robyn's personal needs, babysitters, interior design, car upgrades. In one alleged example, Kody wrote off a spending spree as child-related support. Yet when Christine later asked for similar help groceries during lean months, support during postpartum, she got nothing but silence. The optics, fans say, were damning. Robyn's lavish house, the expensive decor, the rumored six-figure doll room, all stood in stark contrast to Christine's more modest living arrangements. The imagery didn't lie. TLC might not have meant to highlight the disparity, but every wide shot of Robyn's immaculate home against Christine's struggling pantry told a truth the show never dared script. And as Christine began to find her voice through interviews, fan Q&As, and her upcoming memoir What Emerged wasn't just a story of one man's betrayal, but of a network's quiet complicity. TLC, according to several production sources, was reportedly aware of the hospital night controversy. One former crew member claimed that a segment showing Kody's abrupt exit from the hospital was mysteriously pulled after raw audio revealed uncomfortable truths. Another alleged that producers debated internally how to edit the episode to avoid damaging Robyn's image. Christine, when asked whether she believed the network would support her book, gave a response that sent shivers down spines. "They know what they filmed, and so do I." Behind the scenes, the weight of Christine's story rattled more than just family dynamics. It made executives nervous. Legal departments, according to fan-run blog leaks, allegedly reviewed early footage. For liability risk, it's not just the footage that could pose a problem. Sources claim Christine may have access to private emails, internal production notes, even time-stamped call sheets that document what was captured and who made the call to leave it out. Add to that the whispers that former crew members have begun speaking out, one reportedly submitting a signed affidavit describing the hospital night suddenly. The TLC narrative of impartial documentation starts to look more like a controlled image campaign, one that, intentionally or not, protected Kody and Robyn while muting Christine's growing pain. And the emotional fallout didn't stop with her. Christine's children felt it too. Pedon, her only son, has spoken candidly in podcasts about the moment he realized his mother wasn't being treated as she deserved, identifying Truly's birth as the shift. Gwen, in one of her popular YouTube reaction videos, described how watching old episodes made her stomach turn. She remembered the quiet loneliness, the way Christine did everything herself, and how, eventually, the kids learned to stop expecting their father to be present. "It was easier that way," she said bluntly. "We stopped waiting for him. These aren't just growing pains. This is generational disappointment. The kind of quiet ache that rewrites childhoods and reshapes relationships forever." Janelle, often the steady hand in the storm, may have seen it all sooner than anyone knew. Sources claim she kept handwritten diary entries tracking Kody's shifting loyalties and the financial discrepancies that became harder to ignore once Robyn joined the family. One entry, allegedly written weeks after Truly's birth, reportedly reads, "Christine is drowning. No one sees it but me." Whether or not those pages ever go public, their existence hints at an awareness within the family that was deeper and more damning than anyone realized. This wasn't just a case of one wife being left behind. It was a system-wide erasure. And Mary, though distant from Christine emotionally, never truly denied what was happening. In a recent live stream, when asked if Christine was exaggerating the favoritism, Mary paused, smiled thinly, and said only, "Christine is allowed to tell her story." A loaded silence that said more than words ever could. As Christine's book edges closer to release, industry insiders whisper that more is coming, more voices, more receipts, more unfiltered truth. Crew members no longer bound by NDAs. Unused footage that contradicts the happy family myth. And perhaps even proof that the family's legal battles and public campaigning to decriminalize polygamy were built on a facade Christine no longer wants to support. In early excerpts from her memoir, she reportedly confronts her role in that movement, acknowledging that she was pressured to present plural marriage as loving and functional, even as she privately questioned its fairness. The Brown family's lawsuit against the state of Utah temporarily decriminalized polygamy. But Christine now suggests that change came at a cost. It hindered prosecutions in more abusive sex. It emboldened predators. And the Brown family, she implies, may have been used as a public relations mask to make polygamy look cleaner than it was. A family-friendly smokescreen that hid darker truths. She references her own family history, the assassination of her grandfather Rulon Alrid in a brutal power feud between rival polygamist factions and wonders why those warnings were never taken seriously. Why didn't they speak out? Why did they minimize the abuse stories from other groups, especially when survivors came forward directly? Christine, to her credit, owns her tunnel vision. She says she believed too deeply in the Brown vision of polygamy and now realizes how that vision was built on selective truths. And with that admission, Christine's story transforms. It's no longer just a tale of one marriage falling apart. It's a cultural reckoning. It's a challenge to a faith system that she now believes enabled her erasure. And it's a call to others women, still trapped in silence, still smiling for cameras while hurting behind closed doors to speak, to question, to reclaim their voices, claim their voices. As fans call for TLC to release raw footage, especially from the night of Truly's birth, Christine's story is growing louder. It's more detailed, more undeniable. Petition pages flood with comments demanding transparency. Social media timelines are awash with side-by-side clips showing Kody's coldness toward one wife versus his adoration of another. The story is no longer just Christine's. It belongs to every viewer who sensed something was wrong. To every child who noticed which mother was struggling and which one was being showered with gifts. To every crew member who watched the editing room snip away the inconvenient truths. And perhaps most powerfully, to every woman who has ever been asked to smile while breaking. And so, the question remains. If Christine has the receipts, mails, clips, screenshots, should she release them? Would TLC survive the fallout? Would Kody? And what of Robyn, who continues to remain silent, refusing comment, letting her absence from the conversation speak volumes? Because sometimes silence doesn't protect. Sometimes it damns. And if the next wave of truth is even half as explosive, as insiders suggest, then what started with one woman's birth story could end with a complete implosion of the Brown legacy, not the one Kody tried to build, but the one Christine, Janelle, and even Mary are now rewriting page by page, moment by moment, because the real legacy isn't what aired, it's what was hidden. And with the truth poised to break wide open, the cameras may not be able to spin it fast enough this time. This was never just about childbirth. It's about who gets to speak, who gets to be heard, and who finally gets to tell the truth in their own words. And for that truth, you've come to the right place. Subscribe to The Brown Legacy, where the silence ends and the real story begins.